Hello and welcome. Before we begin, I need to share something important with you. Everything we discuss today is general information only. It is not personal financial advice. Your situation is unique. Always speak with a licensed financial advisor before making any decisions about your money or your home. Now, let's talk about something that's been keeping you awake at night, your home. That place where you've raised your family, celebrated birthdays, weathered storms, both literal and metaphorical. It's more than bricks and mortar, isn't it? It's your security, your memories, your legacy. And yet, here you are, wondering if that very same home might need to become something else, a tool, a strategy, a way to actually afford the retirement you've been dreaming about. I know this feels uncomfortable, perhaps even frightening. You might be thinking, what's gone wrong? I worked hard, I saved what I could, I did everything right. So why am I sitting here in my 50s or 60s, wondering if I need to do something with my home just to make ends meet? Let me tell you something right now. You are not alone. You are not failing, and you are certainly not foolish for asking these questions. The anxiety you're feeling is real. It's valid, because using your home to fund retirement means confronting some very deep fears. What if I need to leave my home? What if I make the wrong choice? What if my children are disappointed? What if I run out of money anyway? These questions sit heavy in your chest. I understand that. I've sat across from hundreds of Australians just like you, and I've seen the worry in their eyes. The same worry I can imagine you're feeling right now. But here's what I also know. Knowledge removes fear. Understanding creates options, and options give you control. That's what we're going to do together today. We're going to remove the mystery. We're going to look at every angle. And by the end of our time together, you're going to feel more equipped to make the right decision for you and your family. So, take a breath. You've already taken the hardest step by being here, by being willing to explore this. That takes courage. Now, let's walk through this together. Let me take you back in time for a moment, back to when your parents, or perhaps your grandparents, were thinking about retirement. What did that look like? For most Australians in the 1960s and 70s, retirement was simpler. Not easier, mind you, but simpler. You worked for the same company for 40 years, you received a defined benefit pension, the age pension from the government was enough to live on, genuinely live on, because the cost of living was manageable. Your home, which you'd bought for perhaps $20,000, was paid off, and that was enough. Nobody talked about using their home to fund retirement. Why would they? The home was the castle, the safe place, the thing you worked your whole life to own outright, so you'd never have to worry about a roof over your head again. Retirement was about finally being free of debt, free of obligation, free to enjoy your golden years. But let's be honest about what's changed. Everything has changed. Superannuation didn't even exist as a mandatory system until 1992. That means if you're in your early 60s now, you've only had compulsory super for about 30 years of your working life. Your parents had 40 years of work without it. And the early years, the contribution rates were tiny, 3%, 4%, nothing like the 10.5% we see today. So you've got less in superannuation than you were led to believe you'd have. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is housing. Your parents bought a home for $20,000. That same home, or one like it, is now worth $800,000, or $1 million or more, depending on where you live. Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. The growth has been extraordinary. But here's the catch. While your home was growing in value, so was everyone else's. Which means if you sell to downsize, the next property is also expensive. The distance between what you sell for and what you buy for has narrowed. The profit margin isn't what it used to be. And then there's the cost of living. Let's talk about that for a moment. Your parents' generation could retire on the age pension and be comfortable. Today, the age pension is around $27,000 a year for a single person, or about $41,000 for a couple. That's the maximum, and it only kicks in if you meet the assets test and the income test. Can you live comfortably on that in today's Australia, with electricity bills that have tripled, groceries that cost twice what they did 5 years ago, petrol prices, council rates, private health insurance because the public system has waiting lists that stretch for months? The answer for most people is no. It's not comfortable, it's surviving, not thriving. So here you are. You've got some superannuation, but not enough. You've got a home that's worth a fortune on paper, but you're living in it. And you've got expenses that keep climbing while the age pension and your savings stay relatively flat. This is the Australian reality in 2025. It's not your fault. It's not a failure of character or planning. It's a structural shift in how retirement works in this country. The rules changed midway through the game. And that's why we're having this conversation, because the old model of retirement doesn't work anymore for many Australians. We need new strategies. We need to think differently. And for many people, that means looking at the family home not just as a place to live, but as a financial asset that can work for you. Let's get into the detail now. How exactly can you use your home to fund your retirement? There are really 4 main strategies: downsizing, reverse mortgages, equity release loans, and the age pension homeowner benefits. Let's go through each one carefully. First, downsizing. This is the most straightforward option. You sell your current home and buy something smaller or less expensive. You pocket the difference. That money can go into your superannuation, into income-producing investments, or simply into your bank account to supplement your retirement income. The appeal is obvious. If you're in a 4-bedroom house and the kids moved out 10 years ago, do you really need all that space, all that maintenance, all those stairs? Selling and moving to a 2-bedroom unit might free up $300,000, maybe more. That money could generate investment income, or it could simply be a buffer, a cushion. Knowing you have that money set aside can remove an enormous amount of stress. But downsizing isn't simple. Let's be clear about that. First, there's the emotional side. You're leaving the home where you built your life, where your children grew up, where your memories live. That's not easy. Some people sail through it. Others find it heartbreaking. You need to know yourself well enough to understand which camp you're in. Then there's the practical side. Selling costs money. Real estate agent fees, usually around 2 to 3% of the sale price, legal fees, moving costs, then you're buying again. More legal fees, more moving costs, stamp duty, potentially, depending on the state and the value of the property, and in some states, if you're a pensioner or senior, you might get concessions, but they vary. So that $300,000 profit? It might really be $250,000 after all the costs. Still significant, but not quite the windfall you imagined. There's also the assets test to consider. If you free up $250,000 in cash, that's going to affect your age pension. The assets test limits change, but generally speaking, if you're a homeowner couple, you can have around $450,000 in assets outside your home before your pension starts reducing. If you're suddenly sitting on an extra $250,000, you might lose some or all of your pension. Now, there is a specific exemption. If you sell your home with the intention of buying another one, you get a 12-month exemption period where that money doesn't count under the assets test. That's helpful. It gives you breathing room, but you need to be strategic about it. Despite all these considerations, downsizing works beautifully for many people. If you can find a property that genuinely costs less in an area you're happy to live, and you can navigate the emotional transition, it can set you up very well, particularly if you invest the proceeds wisely. Now let's talk about reverse mortgages. This is where things get a bit more complex, so stay with me. A reverse mortgage is a loan secured against your home, But unlike a normal mortgage, you don't make repayments. Instead, the interest compounds and gets added to the loan balance. The loan is repaid when you sell the home, move into aged care, or pass away. The advantage is obvious. You can access money without selling your home. You can stay exactly where you are. You pull out, say, $50,000 or $100,000, and you use it to live on, to travel, to help with bills, whatever you need. The interest rate on reverse mortgages is usually higher than a standard home loan. We're talking somewhere in the range of 5 to 7% or more, depending on the lender and the market. And remember, you're not paying that interest. It's compounding, which means the loan balance grows quickly. Let me give you an example. Let's say you take out a reverse mortgage of $100,000 at 6% interest. You're 70 years old. If you live to 90, that's 20 years of compounding interest. That $100,000 loan could balloon to around $320,000, maybe more. Now, if your home is worth $800,000 today and it grows modestly at, say, 2% per year, it'll be worth about $1.2 million in 20 years. So you'd still have equity left, plenty of it, but a significant chunk is gone. This is the trade-off. You get to stay in your home. You get cash now, but you're eating into your equity. And if you were hoping to leave that home to your children, well, there'll be less to leave. The regulations around reverse mortgages in Australia have tightened significantly over the years. Lenders now have to ensure you receive independent legal advice. There's a negative equity guarantee, meaning you'll never owe more than the home is worth. These protections are important, but the fundamental question remains: are you comfortable with the idea of your debt growing while you're not working? For some people, the answer is yes. The freedom to stay home is worth it. For others, the thought of accumulating debt in retirement feels wrong, stressful, counterintuitive. There's no right answer, only what's right for you. Now, equity release loans. These are similar to reverse mortgages, but often structured differently. Some allow you to draw down funds as you need them, rather than taking a lump sum. Some have different interest structures. The market has evolved. The principles are largely the same. You're borrowing against your home without selling it. The loan compounds, it gets repaid later, the costs are high, the equity diminishes. One thing to watch carefully is the fees. Some equity release products have high upfront fees, valuation fees, application fees, ongoing fees. These eat into the amount you actually receive. Always, always read the fine print. Better yet, have a financial advisor read it for you. Finally, let's talk about the age pension and home ownership. This is important because it affects everything else. In Australia, whether you own your home or not makes a huge difference to your age pension eligibility. The assets test treats homeowners more generously than non-homeowners. Why? Because the family home is exempt from the assets test. Think about that. You could own a home worth $2 million and Centrelink doesn't count it. But if you're renting and you have $200,000 in the bank, that counts fully. This is why selling your home and renting can be tricky from a pension perspective. Suddenly, all that cash from the sale is accessible. Your pension might disappear entirely. However, there's a strategy some people use. They downsize, they take advantage of the downsizer contribution rules to put some money into super, and they carefully manage their remaining assets to stay under the threshold. It takes planning, but it can work. The downsizer contribution rules, by the way, are quite generous. If you're 65 or older and you've owned your home for at least 10 years, you can contribute up to $300,000 per person from the sales proceeds into your superannuation. That's $300,000 each, so $600,000 for a couple. And this doesn't count towards your usual contribution caps. Why would you do this? Because money in superannuation is treated differently under the assets test. If it's in pension phase, only the deemed income counts, not the full balance in many cases. The rules are intricate, but the point is, moving money into super can reduce your assessable assets and potentially preserve your pension. This is where professional advice becomes absolutely critical, because the interplay between superannuation rules, age pension rules, and property decisions is complex. One wrong move and you could lose thousands in pension payments. Let me introduce you to Bruce and Jenny. They're not real people, but they represent a very real situation. Bruce and Jenny are both 67. They own their home in outer Melbourne outright. It's worth about $750,000. They have $180,000 in superannuation combined, and they have about $30,000 in savings. They're receiving a part-age pension, not the full amount because their superannuation pushes them slightly over the threshold, but they're getting something. Between the pension and the income from their super, they're bringing in about $50,000 a year. It's tight, very tight. They can't afford to travel. They worry constantly about unexpected expenses, the car needing repairs, the hot water system breaking. Jenny needs dental work that's going to cost $8,000, and they have no idea how they'll pay for it. Their home is too big. 4 bedrooms, a big backyard. Bruce used to love gardening, but his back isn't what it used to be. The maintenance is becoming a burden, and honestly, the house feels empty with just the two of them rattling around in it. They're thinking about downsizing. They've looked at units nearby. There's a nice 2-bedroom place for about $400,000. If they sold for $750,000, paid the selling costs, bought the unit, they'd walk away with maybe $300,000. What should they do with that money? Option 1, put it in the bank, but that would destroy their pension. $300,000 in assessable assets would push them well over the limit. They'd lose almost all their pension payments. The interest on $300,000, even at a decent rate, wouldn't make up for the lost pension. Bad move. Option 2, use the downsizer contribution. They each put $200,000 into super. That's $400,000 total. But wait, they only have $300,000, so they split it, $150,000 each. That money now sits in superannuation. It's in pension phase, so it generates tax-free income, and the assets test treatment is more favorable. They could keep most of their pension and have their super balances boosted significantly. Much better. Option 3, they take $100,000 and help their daughter buy her first home. They put the remaining $200,000 into super. Now, this is a personal choice. Helping the kids is important to them, but it means less for their own retirement. They'd need to be absolutely certain they can afford to be that generous. Bruce and Jenny go with option 2. They sell, they move into the unit, they each contribute $150,000 into their super using the downsizer rules. Their super balances jump from $180,000 combined to $480,000 combined. That extra $300,000 conservatively invested generates perhaps $12,000 to $15,000 a year in income. Combined with their preserved part pension and their existing super, they're now bringing in about $65,000 a year. That's a 30% increase. Suddenly, they can breathe. Jenny gets her dental work done. They book a trip to Queensland to see the grandkids. They're not wealthy, but they're comfortable. And the unit is so much easier to manage. Less cleaning, no yard work. Bruce feels lighter. Jenny feels relieved. This is what good planning looks like. They didn't just sell and hope for the best. They understood the rules. They used the downsizer contribution strategically. They improved their financial position significantly. But let's look at another scenario. What if they'd chosen differently? Imagine Bruce and Jenny decided not to downsize. Instead, they stayed in their big house and took out a reverse mortgage for $100,000. They used that money to pay off Jenny's dental work, fix up the house, and create a buffer in their savings. For 5 years, it works well. They have cash available. They feel secure. But then Bruce has a stroke. He needs care. Jenny can't manage alone. They need to move into a retirement village. And eventually, Bruce needs high-level aged care. They sell the house. It's now worth $850,000 after some market growth. But the reverse mortgage, after 5 years of compounding at 6% interest, has grown to about $134,000, plus exit fees. They walk away with maybe $700,000. The aged care costs are significant. The accommodation bond for Bruce's facility is $500,000. That leaves Jenny with $200,000, her share of the super and the age pension. It's manageable, but it's tight, and there's not much left for the kids. Now, I'm not saying the reverse mortgage was wrong. It gave them 5 good years in their own home. That has value, real value. But the cost was high, and the outcome was less security later. This is why these decisions are so personal. There's no universal right answer. It depends on your health, your priorities, your family, your risk tolerance. Let's talk about what you can do right now, today, to start getting clarity on this. Step 1. Get a clear picture of where you stand. Write it all down. The value of your home, your superannuation balances, your other assets, your debts, your current income, your expenses, everything. You cannot make good decisions without knowing your numbers, and I mean really knowing them, not guessing, not assuming, actual figures. If you don't know what your home is worth, get an appraisal. Most real estate agents will do this for free. If you're not sure about your super balance, log into your fund or call them. If you've lost track of your expenses, keep a diary for a month. Write down every single dollar. This might feel tedious, but it's essential. You're building the foundation for every decision that comes next. Step 2. Project forward. Look at your age pension eligibility. There are calculators on the Services Australia website. They're free. You put in your assets and income, and it tells you what pension you'd be entitled to. Run different scenarios. What if you sold your house? What if you downsized? What if you drew down super? See how each choice affects your pension. This is eye-opening. Many people are shocked by how the assets test works. They had no idea that having too much in the bank could cost them thousands in pension payments. Step 3. Understand your goals. What do you actually want from retirement? Do you want to stay in your current home no matter what? Then downsizing is off the table. Maybe a reverse mortgage or equity release makes sense. Or maybe you just need to be more frugal. Do you want to travel? Then you need liquidity, cash. Downsizing might free up that money, or you might draw more from super earlier. Do you want to leave an inheritance? Then strategies that eat into your home equity, like reverse mortgages, might not sit well with you. You'd lean toward downsizing and preserving assets. Your goals shape your strategy. There's no point pursuing a plan that contradicts what you actually want from life. Step 4. Talk to your family. This is hard. Many people avoid it. They don't want to burden the kids. They don't want to seem like they're failing. They don't want to face judgment. But here's the truth. Your kids probably have opinions about your home anyway. They might be hoping to inherit it. They might be worried about your finances. They might have ideas you haven't considered. Having an honest conversation removes assumptions. It prevents resentment, and it might actually bring you closer together. You don't need permission from your children to make decisions about your home. It's your home, your life. But bringing them into the conversation, at least to some degree, is wise. Step 5. Get professional advice. This is not optional. The rules are too complex. The stakes are too high. You need someone who understands superannuation law, age pension rules, tax implications, and estate planning. A good financial advisor will cost money, yes, but they'll save you far more than they cost. They'll help you avoid mistakes that could cost tens of thousands of dollars. They'll show you strategies you didn't know existed. Make sure the advisor is licensed. Check their credentials, ask about their fee structure up front, and make sure they understand retirement planning specifically. Not all advisors specialize in this area. Step 6. Move slowly. Don't rush. These are big decisions, life-changing decisions. You don't need to have everything figured out tomorrow. Take your time. Sit with the information. Let it percolate. Talk it through. Sleep on it and then sleep on it again. Some people make these decisions in a month. Others take a year. There's no prize for speed. The prize is getting it right. Step 7. Stay flexible. Your plan today might need to change in 5 years. Your health might change, the market might change, your family circumstances might change. That's okay. Revisit your strategy regularly. Every couple of years, sit down and review. Is this still working? Do we need to adjust? Retirement planning isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. We're coming to the end of our time together now, and I want to leave you with something important, something that goes beyond numbers and strategies. Your retirement is not just about surviving, it's about living. It's about the third act of your life. And this act can be beautiful, meaningful, rich. You've spent 40 years working, raising children, building a career, meeting obligations, paying bills, doing what needed to be done. That took strength, discipline, sacrifice. Now you're entering a new phase, a phase where you get to choose, where your time is your own, where you can finally pursue the things that matter to you, the hobbies you never had time for, the friendships you want to deepen, the grandchildren you want to know properly, the books you want to read, the places you want to see. But to truly embrace this phase, you need security. You need to know that the money will be there, that you won't run out, that you can afford your life. And that's what this conversation has been about. Not about greed, not about luxury, but about creating enough financial security that you can relax, that you can say yes to the things that matter, that you can live without constant worry. Your home is not just a building, but it's also not untouchable. If using your home strategically means a better retirement, a more comfortable life, more freedom, then that's worth considering. It's worth exploring. You are allowed to make choices that serve you. You are allowed to prioritize your well-being. You are allowed to use your assets in ways that make your life better. This doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you a bad parent. It makes you human, and it makes you wise. The goal is not to die with the most money. The goal is to live well, to have enough, to feel secure, to enjoy this precious time you have. So take the steps we've talked about. Get clarity, understand your options, seek advice, make decisions from a place of knowledge, not fear. And remember, you've made it this far. You've navigated so much already. You've survived recessions, job changes, raising families, health scares. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you realize. This is just one more challenge, one more decision, and you can handle it. I believe that, and I hope by now you believe it too. Before we finish, let me remind you one more time. This has been general information only, not personal financial advice. Your situation is unique. Always speak with a licensed professional before making any decisions about your home, your superannuation, or your retirement funding. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for having the courage to think about these difficult questions. I wish you clarity. I wish you peace. And I wish you a retirement that's everything you hope it will be. Take care and take action. Your future self will thank you.